I'm ready, go ahead. We'll see what happens.
Jeremy King doing a pool inspection on White Rock Road. We have a set of drop-in steps. Drop-in steps are notorious for putting holes in liners. It's not necessarily recommended. Definitely needs to have a pad put in place underneath of the steps where they are installed at. And you can see right here the greenish area on the bottom of the pools where the steps were. That is the anchor in which the handrail connects. And the handrail also goes to this area in the steps, and I would consider the steps pretty wore at this point, probably in need of some new ones. The pressure side cleaner is fairly old. It looks like the backup valve is new, but the cleaner in itself is old. You can rebuild it for probably $300 or $400, or you can just buy a new one for $6 or $7. Buying a new one will last much longer than rebuilding the existing. The two ladders and the handrail look okay. They are a little rusty, but not too bad. The pool liner looks to be 5 years old or more. The pool size is an 18 by 36. Does have a deep end. It looks to be about 8 feet deep. The pool was not properly closed. There were no plugs in any of the lines. We ended up blowing the lines out. We blew a lot of water out of all the returns. Also blew a lot of water out of the skimmer, in which we have a video of that. The slide probably needs to be removed. Not that it's necessarily terribly bad, but the finish on it is really rough. You can see cracks in which it should really be replaced with probably a new one, because it's not going to be very safe. And I would have to check to be sure, but I do not think this slide meets code anymore due to the height and the steepness of the slope and the height of the edges holding the people in. I don't think it's under code, but I'm not sure. Either way, I just think it's unsafe. Pool decking has some cracks in it. There's no major heaving or settling. The most settling I can see is probably over there by the steps, and it doesn't seem to be that bad. So the light is GFCI protected. I don't know how well you can see that down there. The light does not look very new, but I can see, if you can see that line that dark line running through the center of the light, that is water inside the light, which is why the breaker continues to trip every time we try and turn it on. So the light will need to be replaced, or the light bulb will need to be replaced. It just depends on how bad and how long the water is sat in there. Replacing a light bulb's probably about $100, maybe $150, and replacing the light in itself, you're probably looking more about $600 or $700 for a regular light. And if you want to do a color LED light, it's probably more about $1,000. The water bag cover seems to be doing okay. There are several water bags, as the one you can see inside the pool, that is no longer holding water, and that is causing the cover to fall in. You can see over there the inlet or return, or also what you might call the jet, has no plug inside of it. We also have the skimmer. Those parts are parts that we took out of the jets so that we were able to pressure test. You can see the skimmer line has no plug in it and no antifreeze, so it is not closed properly either. Liner is also out of track in a few places. You can see it over here. It's quite common in these wide radius pools, like ovals, in which this happens. Installing liner lock or liner bead around the channel would help this from happening, and you're probably looking at about $200 or $300 to do something like that. We'll go over here to the equipment. You have your backwash hose. We have here the booster pump for the cleaner, for the pressure side cleaner. We have the chlorinator here. This is where you put your chlorine into this, and it feeds chlorine into the pool. This here is a Hayward filter. It is a sand filter. It holds 300 pounds of sand. And we have here the multi-port. The multi-port does turn, but it is a little stiff, but not too bad. It's pretty common for the most part. We have the valves. The valves look good. These are actually fairly expensive valves. Although they are the old style, they have changed the style of the valves. So the parts, like if you wanted to change parts out inside the valve, that would not be possible. We would still have to replace the entire valve. But the nice thing is those are very good valves, and they do tend to last a while. Here we have a Duraglass pump. It is a 1 horsepower pump, and it looks like it's had a new motor recently. I would say within the last year or two. We have 2 time clocks. One time clock runs the pool pump, the other time clock runs the cleaner pump. Here we have the electrical breakers. The one that says light, as you can see, it does not come on. Every time we try and get it to come on, it flips and trips the breaker, which because the light has water in it. So the pool filter pump works, and also the pool sweep pump works. All lines pressure tested and passed, which is good. And in my opinion also gives you another good reason to close the lines properly this year. just in case we get a hard enough freeze that it actually causes them to freeze and break, because at this point there is nothing keeping water from going back into the lines and causing them to break. You can see another return over there which has no plug in it. This is Jeremy King with Cool Pools, and we are signing out.